you know what to look for. Professional gem hunters know something you don't. The world's rarest meteorites do not look like treasure. They look like rusty iron, burnt stone, or even industrial waste. Some of these rocks are rarer than diamonds, and their value can eclipse gold by the ounce. By the end of this video, you will never look at a creek bed, a plowed field, or a desert plain the same way again. Let's start with the first secret most people miss. You are walking a dry riverbed, and you spot a lump of metal, pitted and blackened, heavy as a brick. It looks like a chunk of old machinery, maybe a relic from a forgotten railroad. But this is no man-made scrap. This is an iron meteorite, nature's own bullion, forged in the heart of an asteroid. The outside is battered, covered in thumbprint-like dimples called Regmagli PTS, the scars of its fiery descent through Earth's atmosphere. Inside, if you slice it open and etch the surface, you will see the Widmanstätten pattern, a crystalline fingerprint that only forms in the vacuum of space as molten iron cools over millions of years. Here is the science. These meteorites are almost pure iron and nickel, denser than any rock you will find on Earth, and so magnetic they will snap a magnet out of your hand. The protocol is simple. Test the weight. If it feels impossibly heavy for its size, and a magnet clings to it like a lost lover, you are on the right track. Look for those thumbprints, and if you dare, polish a window to reveal the hidden pattern. Value check. Common fragments fetch 50 cents to $2 per gram, but a large aesthetic piece can break $10,000, and historic finds have sold for over $200,000 at auction. This is what nature hides from the impatient. But what if the metal is not alone? What if it is guarding a secret even rarer? Now imagine a rock that looks like a lump of volcanic glass, but when the sun hits it just right, you catch a glint of green. You break it open, and inside, the metal is studded with translucent crystals, like emeralds trapped in steel. This is a palisite, the crown jewel of meteorites. On the outside, it is nothing special, dull, weathered, sometimes rusty. But inside, olivine crystals, the gemstone peridot, are suspended in a nickel-iron matrix, a cosmic stained glass window. Geologically, palisites are born at the boundary of an asteroid's metal core and rocky mantle, a place of unimaginable pressure and heat. The science is simple. The metal is magnetic. But the real giveaway is the presence of those green or yellow crystals visible in a polished slice. For identification, check for a metallic matrix with embedded glassy crystals, moderate to strong magnetism, and a density that feels off for a rock. Value reality. High-quality slices sell for $20 to $40 per gram, and museum-grade specimens can reach $100,000 or more. This is the kind of rock that turns a prospector into a legend. And if you think that is rare, wait until you see what happens when metal and stone collide in chaos. So you are digging in a field, and you find a rock that looks like a broken chunk of asphalt, dark, dense, flecked with shiny metal. It is ugly, heavy, and unremarkable. But this is a mesosiderite, a stony iron meteorite forged in cosmic violence. Mesositerites are breccias, jumbled mixtures of silicate rock and metallic iron, welded together by ancient impacts. The outside is rough, sometimes pitted, with a patchwork of stone and metal. The science. These meteorites are moderately magnetic, not as strong as pure irons, but enough to pull a magnet. Identification protocol. Look for a brecciated texture, visible metal flecks, and a weight that surprises you. If you see both stone and metal in the same slice, you are in rare company. Value check. $2 to $10 per gram, but rare or aesthetic pieces can command much more. This is the rock that reminds you that chaos breeds fortune. And speaking of fortune, If you are finding this valuable, subscribe now, because the next rock is the one most people walk past without a second glance. You're in the desert, and you spot a stone with a dark, glassy crust, like it has been scorched by fire. You pick it up, and it's heavier than it looks. You break it open, and inside you see tiny metallic flecks and round, grainy inclusions. This is an ordinary chondrite, the most common meteorite on Earth, but still a ticket to hidden wealth. The exterior is often blackened by a fusion crust, the result of atmospheric entry. Inside, you will find chondrules, millimeter-sized, once molten droplets that predate our planet. The science. Chondrites contain enough iron-nickel metal to be weakly to moderately magnetic, especially the H-type. Identification protocol. Look for a dark fusion crust, visible chondrules, and rusty spots from metal oxidation. A magnet should be attracted, but not as strongly as with pure iron. Value check. Common types go for 10 cents to $1 per gram, but rare falls or witnessed events can fetch $50 to $250 per gram. This is the rock that proves even the ordinary can be extraordinary. But what if you find a rock that barely reacts to a magnet, yet holds a secret worth more than gold? Now let's talk about the rarest catch of all. You are in the Sahara, and you find a small, dark stone, fine-grained, almost basaltic, with a few metallic flecks. You test it with a strong magnet, and it barely responds. Most would toss it aside. But this could be a rare magnetic chondrite, like an angrite or a ureolite with metal. These meteorites are fragments of ancient planetary crusts, sometimes even from Mars or the Moon. The science is that most chondrites aren't magnetic, but a few contain enough metallic iron to register a weak pull. Identification protocol is to look for a fine-grained, basaltic or carbon-rich matrix, small metallic inclusions, and a density that feels off. If you suspect you have found one, handle it with care. These are among the rarest rocks on Earth. Value check. $50 to $500 per gram, and exceptional specimens can reach $10,000 or more. This is the stone that whispers, fortune favors the patient and the curious. But what if you want proof that these are not just stories? In 2015, a gold prospector in Australia found a rock weighing 17 kilograms that jammed his metal detector. It looked like a rusty lump, but it was so heavy and magnetic he could not ignore it. He took it home, tried to break it open with a saw, and failed. Years later, scientists confirmed it was an H5 chondrite, one of the largest ever found in Victoria. Its value? Tens of thousands of dollars, and a place in the history books. Or consider the El Ali meteorite in Somalia, a 3,000-pound iron giant discovered by herders and amateur hunters using nothing but a magnet and a sharp eye. Its estimated value, hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars, especially if it contains rare minerals. These are not fairy tales. They are the rewards of those who know what to look for. Start with the magnet test. Use a strong neodymium magnet to see if the rock is attracted. If it is, check the weight. Meteorites are denser than almost any Earth rock. Next, try the streak test. Rub the rock on the unglazed bottom of a ceramic mug. Meteorites usually leave no streak, while magnetite leaves a dark gray mark, and hematite leaves red. Inspect the surface for a fusion crust, a thin, dark, glassy layer, and look for regmaglyphs, the thumbprint-like dimples. Break the rock open and search for metal flecks or chondrules. If you think you have found an iron meteorite, polish a small window and etch it with dilute nitric acid, carefully, to reveal the Widmann-Stettin pattern. For density, weigh the rock and measure its volume by water displacement. Iron meteorites clock in at 7 to 8 grams per cubic centimeter. And remember, Most rocks that stick to a magnet are not meteorites, but if yours passes these tests, you might be holding a fortune. Let's bring it home. Remember the palisite, the rock that looks worthless until you see the green fire inside? That's the one that changes lives. You now possess the knowledge of a pro. The difference between a doorstop and $1 million treasure is just knowledge, and the patience to look twice while others throw it away.